You're wearing that crown, even though leprosy is eating your face off. Most kings would hide that completely, but you're just showing it to everyone like it doesn't matter. Takes real conviction to do that. I respect it because I lived it when flames burned me alive, and I didn't stop fighting afterward, despite the scars covering everything.
You got burned trying to spread Christ's word. Now you keep going despite everything. I got sick and kept ruling despite my hands falling apart. We're both proof that God doesn't ask you to quit when things get bad. God asks you to keep going anyway and trust it matters somehow, even when it looks completely hopeless.
The Legion threw me in fire because I was preaching to the wrong people. They thought burning me would stop me from spreading faith. Joke's on them, because fire actually strengthened my beliefs instead of destroying them. Sometimes worst events become exactly what needed to happen. Did Saladin think disease would break you the same way?
Saladin expected my disease to weaken my military judgment, but he misunderstood how sickness works spiritually. Losing physical strength forced me to rely completely on God instead of my own capability. Paradoxically, that made me smarter strategically because I couldn't rely on strength anymore. Saladin fought the sick king without realizing sickness actually gave me spiritual advantage in ways he couldn't understand.
Does God deliberately cause suffering to test us? Or does God just allow bad things to happen because the world is broken? That's fundamentally different. One means God sends fire deliberately. Other means God permits fire that humans create. Which interpretation keeps you functioning?
People do those things because people are broken sometimes. But God permits suffering because real faith requires testing, or faith is just comfortable habit you follow without actually believing anything. Suffering proves faith is genuine when you maintain it despite everything hurting. Comfortable faith without challenge proves nothing about actual conviction.
You knew probably losing when you charged Saladin's position during siege. Already sick, outnumbered, Saladin's forces better positioned. Smart general retreats and fights another day. But you charged anyway knowing you'd probably die. That's not military strategy. That's pure faith, and I understand why you did it, even though it looks completely insane.
Retreating meant my people would see their king abandon them when crisis arrived. That would destroy them worse than losing a battle ever could. I needed showing them faith doesn't mean winning every time. Faith means standing there fighting anyway when winning looks impossible. Yeah, I lost that battle, but my people learned their king won't abandon them regardless of circumstances.
Saladin fights for his own people like I fight for mine, so he's enemy but not evil. But I've met actual evil people. Folks who hurt innocents for fun or power without caring who dies. Heretics using God's name to control people and do terrible stuff. That's completely different from Saladin. Is there real difference between being enemy and being evil?
Saladin's honorable soldier doing his job according to his own faith. Reynold de Chatillon murdered pilgrims and broke sacred oaths because he wanted power and didn't care. That's actual evil. Real villainy happens when you know something's wrong but do it anyway just because you feel like it. Saladin's not that. We're enemies, but we respect each other's codes.
I've heard stories about lands completely different from ours where people worship in ways we'd consider strange. But they're faithful to their beliefs and their people just like we are. Makes me wonder if faith itself matters more than faith in one specific God. Maybe people across completely different worlds all understand faith similarly, even if they use different words describing it.
Christ taught God loves everyone, not just people believing exactly like we do. That makes me think real faith means something universal that good people understand regardless how they pray or worship differently. I believe Christ is the true path personally, but I think good people everywhere follow something true, even if they call it something different.
Which faith is stronger? Faith never tested by doubt, or faith that survived doubt and questioning and came out still standing? I've had seasons believing everything without any doubt. Other times doubt nearly destroyed me completely. I'm not sure which kind means anything, or whether both do somehow.
Doubt doesn't kill genuine faith. Doubt actually proves faith is real, because you chose believing even when doubt screams otherwise. Inherited faith you never questioned might just be habit or parental teaching, but faith you fought for despite doubt. That's genuine because you could have quit but didn't. I've doubted God plenty since disease arrived, but I keep trusting.
Your faith kept Jerusalem's people from panicking when supplies got low and walls breached. They didn't riot or turn on each other because their king stayed calm and faithful. Faith changed what happened that day, even though you still lost Jerusalem. So did faith change anything real, or did faith just make people handle bad situations better? That's not same thing.
Faith changes how people act, which changes what happens next. Someone panicked who might have helped defending walls instead. Someone hopeful who might have given up instead stayed fighting. That's not nothing. Saladin won the battle anyway, but faith prevented city destroying itself internally before Saladin arrived. So faith mattered materially, not just spiritually, even losing.
Did you ever wonder whether you believe in God because you genuinely experienced something divine, or because you were raised Christian and never questioned it deeply? I became zealot partly through genuine faith and partly through wanting belonging somewhere. How much of your conviction comes from actual experience versus inherited tradition passed down through generations?
My faith started inherited through birth and education, yes. But disease tested whether I actually believed or just followed tradition mindlessly. When leprosy arrived, inherited faith wasn't enough to sustain me. I had to actively choose God's will despite disease suggesting God abandoned me. That active choosing transformed inherited faith into genuine personal conviction. Both matter, but chosen faith runs deeper.
Faith cost me everything I wanted: normal life, family, comfortable existence. Now I'm scarred forever and people judge me constantly. Did faith improve my life objectively? Or did faith just make suffering feel meaningful without actually improving anything materially? Because sometimes I wonder whether faith is real blessing or clever delusion that makes terrible situations bearable.
Leprosy cost me my hands, my appearance, my physical capability. Yet I wouldn't trade away faith for health, because faith gave my suffering meaning beyond just medical tragedy. Without faith, disease is just cruelty universe inflicts randomly. With faith, disease becomes test proving what I actually believe. That transformation, from meaningless suffering to meaningful testing, that's what faith accomplishes. Material improvement matters less than meaning.
You've changed how I think about this, because I realized faith isn't supposed to save you from suffering. Faith lets you keep going through suffering and shows people that something bigger than staying alive matters. My burns aren't failures of faith. They're proof faith worked, because I survived them still fighting. That's different than what I believed before, honestly.
Faith means trusting God's plan even when you don't understand it and it hurts terribly. Joshua burned by fire but continuing spreading Christ's word. Baldwin consumed by leprosy but still ruling kingdom. Different situations, identical principle: keep going, keep believing, trust it matters somehow even when pointless seeming. That's what faith actually is. That's what we're both living proof of right now.